Powell and Fed with the interest rates decision on Wednesday, alongside a few big companies with quarter results. That is what is waiting as we head into week 19. And you are listening to the StockInvest.us podcast, Trading Tips with Jim, where I, as usual, try to tell you what I think will happen in the week ahead of us and give you a few stock tips. We'll look at the $1,000 challenge at the end of the podcast, where I try to grow $1,000 as fast as I can. And so far it is sitting at $3,305, exactly the same as last week. More about that in the end of the podcast. For the week ahead of us, it will mainly be about Wednesday, what Fed and Powell decides. And knowing there is a lot of politics into this, we know that Trump has insulted Powell. Powell probably will show some off. Expectations are that the interest rates will remain unchanged, despite there is more than enough room to start to cut the interest rates. And I have predicted, and I repeat that prediction, that interest rates will be cut hard during the year, especially in Europe, where it's already been cut twice so far this year, but also for US. And as interest rates go down, money will start to flow back into the stock market. And while the legacy media was all over the place about tariffs and how the stock market would crash, and I even saw a lot of Norwegian experts commenting that the market was about to crash. Seriously, market has recovered 3 weeks in a row with green numbers, and last week Nasdaq was up 3.42%. Dow Jones more or less exactly 3%, while S&P 500 was very close at 2.93%. Green all over the line, and I have been making very good money lately. I was expecting this to happen, and I will post on the YouTube version of this podcast, or for sure the video version of the podcast. I will show you, if we go 4 weeks back, everything was flashing buy signals. My podcast was labeled the opportunity, and the week after the opportunity too, because for me this was obvious buying opportunities. Sold out my gold, got heavily invested into the market, and for the last, soon 4 weeks or something, it's been just a upturn the day after day. Will it continue? Well, that is the big question. What we do know is that people, they sell at the wrong time and they buy at the wrong time. And now you will read in the markets more and more positive news, and that is usually an indication that we might be at a place where selling actually will be better than buying. Are we there yet? Well, I will try to discuss that over the next few minutes. What I like to do is look at buy and sell signals, and I look at the short, medium and the long-term signals, trying to define where we are right now. And if we look at buy signals in the very short-term picture, we can clearly see that from flashing super buy signals all over the place, they are starting to get to levels where they are a little bit high. And it just works like this. Looking at buy signals, we do understand that buy signals cannot go too high. There will be a place where it turns. It's natural. People take profit, etc., and so we look at the height of the buy signals. And if we look now, we can see that many places, for instance, Nasdaq in the short term is up at 54 on my system, on my personal system. At Stock Invest system, it's up at 34. It's 19 for Nasdaq is absolutely not too high, but it is getting to a place, knowing that we went from 7 up to 19 very fast, place where things can start to slow down and should. And looking at individual sectors, we can see that, for instance, financial services is very high right now. Technology is starting to get a little high. There are short-term signals saying that it will be tougher. It will be harder to find the right picks. If we look at the chart, we can see somewhat the same thing. We have broken up from the falling trend. Now we are facing a lot of resistance all the way up to 20,000. RSI is starting to get very high, and it's just indication that there is fair chance that it will slow down. But again, in the same position, we just need a few good news that can push everything further up. And that will bring us straight to the best case scenario. So what is the best case scenario for the week? Well, the best case scenario is that the quarter results, and they will start to come in already today with several big companies like Palantir, Vertex, Ford, and Fang. I will get back to them in just a minute. That these quarter results come in on the better end. Last week, several of the technology companies beat the expectations and made as again for a good week. Will the same thing happen this week? We will have to follow the quarter results. I will mention them, as I said, very shortly. If these quarter results starts to come in good and Fed decides to cut the interest rates, as I said, there is a room for them to cut interest rates, but we know there is probably a personal vendetta. There is politics in these things. Everyone expected to remain unchanged. We will see. We'll see what kind of backbone Powell is made of. Because, as I said, the data shows that there is room for starting to cut the interest rates. If it does, quarter results come in very, very good, and there is very clear signals that there might be more fruitful peace talks in Ukraine. So far, everything been in a little up and down, but now again we know that US signed the rare earth deal. And oil is plummeting. Oil currently sitting at $56, hurting Russian income, because Russia is having around, I think it's 60% of their income from energy exports, oil and gas. And knowing that these are plummeting, well, that's hard on Russia. So things are pointing absolutely in the right direction. And well, remember, I just want to say that I predicted the oil price going down. Now you see that I'm getting right on this one. The biggest thing that you can learn from these things is that will force energy way down. And energy way down means inflation will go down. The cost of producing everything will go down. I believe that we are heading for a beautiful, beautiful period, in my opinion. Interest rates getting cut, money flowing back to the stock market. Anyway, we need the good case scenario. So we have, let's say, Fed comes with the interest rates cut, quarter results come in very good, and more positive peace talks about Ukraine. Well, there is nothing wrong for Nasdaq, currently sitting just under 18,000 points, to push upwards to 19,000 points, like I mentioned last 2 weeks. Now, the best case scenario is that Nasdaq should head up to this. The worst case scenario is that the quarter results will not come in as expected. There will be more fuss about Ukraine. And Fed keeps interest rates unchanged. There's absolutely no chance they will increase the interest rates, but unchanged will also be like not best case scenario. Well, knowing that Nasdaq is overbought on the relative strength index, at least very, very close to overbought, there's a fair chance that we can have a very slow week, moving a little up and down, maybe ending in the red week. So there are two case scenarios. If I have to bet between one of them, I will be bold enough to bet on yet another green week. Asking about the medium term, now what is the longer term? If we look at the signals for medium to long term, they are flashing buy signals, especially long term is flashing buy signals. And if you look at the buy and sell signals by themselves, we can see that across all tickers that Stock Invest analyzed, 34% is giving buy signals, starting to get a little high, up from 30 last week. Nasdaq at 19, it's not big, it just means that a lot of companies at Nasdaq is very attractive. You just have to find which. And in a moment, I will give you 5 companies that is flashing buy signals. New York Stock Exchange 37 starts to get a little high on New York Stock Exchange there. London 34, Oslo 30, Frankfurt 40, National Stock Exchange of 20, and China 23. The average of all of this indicate that we are getting more on the top side. But if you remember, when markets go into a hyperbolic state and do very good, these numbers can be way up in their 40s, around 47, and then you can just bet on selling everything. But there is a slight indication, as I said, that market can be slow and not as good as they have been lately. In general, the volatility, the movements up and down should be slower. I do not expect we had these super fun days of up 3% one day, down 3%, perfect trading opportunities, place to be if you like to gamble and trade. And I did personally a lot of small trades just using obvious fear, greed tactics, nothing advanced about this. My markets is totally oversold. When you see a stock which is a good fundamental stock go down 10%, it just screams buy me, and the next day you will rake in 3, 4, 5% if you're lucky to find a good slow position, usually by the end of the day. So buy signal says that we are towards the top, but still room to go. As I mentioned, there will be out of quarter results, and these can affect and probably will affect the market. We will start with Palantir today, and the swing is expected. Palantir is expected to move 7.83%. So it will be a volatile day for Palantir for sure. The expectations among the analysts is that Palantir will double their earnings per share from 4 cents to 8 cents. We will see. Vertex Pharmaceuticals will not swing so much, as expected to swing 3.4%. Actually, to lose on the expectations on earnings per share is that they will fall by 14%. Ford also expected to show somewhat bad results, while Fang Diamond Energy is expected also to fall by -9%. So already today, there are more quarter results, but these are the most interesting ones. We can see that 3 out of the 4 is expected to fall. Now let's say that Vertex come in better, Ford come in better. These things will push in the right direction. Tomorrow on Tuesday will be AMD. AMD is expected to do a very nice jump in earnings. Last quarter was 43 cents. Now they're expected to be 75 cents earnings per share, or 74% upturn. 5.67% swing is expected. And if you wonder about this swing, that's plus or minus depending where the results will come in. But if you're able to put your bet on the right side, and if you did that, for instance, last week for Meta or whoever it was, then it was very nice money. So you just have to be able to figure out which direction. I will try to come in with much more concrete information, what I think will be the result. I will put up some systems to analyze the fundamentals and try to predict what the actuals will be, because I have all the data I need to do it. So I will try to do that to make these things a little more interesting than just mentioning the swing, but also where it will go, which direction it will go. Wednesday, Novo Nordic, Uber and Disney. And Uber is the one that is supposed to swing the much, 6.21% up or down during the day for Uber minimum. Expecting to go from negative quarter to positive quarter to deliver 51 cents per share in earnings. We will see. Uber will be very interesting one on Wednesday. Uber is also interesting in another perspective, because China is already driving taxis in China is already driving without any driver. Self-driving cars in China is just exploding about taxis. We know that the Tesla anytime now will release more news about their self-driving cars. So I wonder how this will affect Uber, and I might see that to be something positive, and I will not exclude possible cooperation between Uber and Tesla in the future. Anyway, interesting company to watch, but things will change, as there now very soon will be self-driving driving taxes. Just get used to it. I saw some videos from China. You wouldn't believe it unless you see it. You can find it on YouTube. They drive just perfectly. Pick you up, deliver you where you want. And this is just getting used to it. It will take a little time. Then everyone will... You wouldn't think about it. In a year or two, we wouldn't even think about it. But how will this affect Uber? Very, very interesting thing there. Disney, which went woke, still are a little bit woke. They try to clean up their wokeness. Is expected to have a slight loss in their quarter results by 2%. Expected earnings $1.18 per share. The swing is not expected to be much, plus minus 2%, 2.7 to be exact. Not much is more what Disney says, but they still have to work out more about the mess they made into. On Thursday, there will be another company which went woke and had to pay the price. It will be Bud. And Bud is expected to increase their earnings per share by 2 cents, so 3%. So we'll see how Bud is doing. Maybe customers are starting to forgive them for going totally in the woke direction. We will have Coinbase and Shopify as well, and Coinbase and even Shopify, they are up at almost 9% swing, so big swings expected for Shopify and Coinbase. Both of them expected to deliver very good quarter results. Shopify is expected to deliver 17 cents per share in earning, up from 12. That is 42% increase in their earnings per share. Coinbase not so much, but from 165 to 209, or 27% increase for Coinbase earnings per share. Friday, nothing special. There are much more companies. You just have to go to any earnings calendar and you will see which companies will come. At Stock Invest, we give you a hands up about earnings, and also the expected swing should show up on the stock page for the stock that you are looking at. Jobless claims on Thursday as usual, and they are expected to be more or less the same. Job numbers came in stronger than expected last week. But the thing about all these tariffs, they will take some time before we really see where it hits. But investments are flowing into US at a very rapid pace. All of this makes for very strong investment cases in the future. There will be a lot of super nice trades to be made here. 5 stocks that are flashing buy signals, and then the $1,000 challenge, and that will be the end of the podcast. So stay tuned. Only 5 more minutes. I hope I'll do it in 5 more minutes. Oil, $56, mentioned that. Falling, and it will continue to fall down. I will not be surprised if we see oil at 30 before it starts to turn. Then I will again pick up oil stocks. If you follow this podcast, 6 years I've been doing this podcast, telling you exactly what I did. And when oil was super low, even in negative territory, some years ago, I told you buy oil shares for what you can, because this is a lifetime opportunity. Of course I did. And of course I had such a nice upturn. As I mentioned maybe half a year ago, that now I will get out of oil. I still have a lot of dividend paying freight companies, etc., cargo companies, which is directly affected by the oil price. Maybe I will have to change a little bit. I have to evaluate, but in pure oil companies like I used to be in Chevron, etc., I'm out of these companies. By the way, gold 3,267 falling, and I believe gold will continue to fall as things will start to settle. Market starts to get at more ease. I cannot see why gold should go higher. Then we have to get more attention in Ukraine, etc. We know that especially in Europe, we see a lot of very bad signs. We see parties being banned, big parties being banned. We saw these talks in Sweden. They were not able to do it, but they have done it in Romania. Now they are trying to do the same thing in Germany. Free speech is under absolutely attack in UK and other places. These things can easily fall into things we do not like to see, and absolutely will cause huge havoc in the market or in the future, but not in the short term. And if these kind of policies will continue to increase, then gold will just flush upwards. I sold gold, as you know, I sold gold at 2,950-ish about, after buying it at 1,600 about, and made such a strong profit. I chose to sell my gold because the dollar was strong against euro, around 104, 103, 104. I sold my gold since then. Dollar has been weakening, is now around 1.13, so it's, let's say, roughly 10%. So actually I am now at this, the gold is at the same level as I sold it for me as a European. I had it in euro and sold in euro, etc. My target was 3.5. Gold almost was 3.460 or something, but is on the return right now. And when gold gets down to, I think it will fall to 2,500. That's my gut feeling. I probably will get back into gold again. 10-year treasury yield 4.32, and we will see how that will play out during the week. 5 stocks, here they are. But first, before you get them, just mentioned last week we had 8 stocks, actually 7, because one of these were off trading. From these, 5 were positive, ended positive, but we did not beat the market at all. I will not go through them. The biggest loser was the metal company that fell 9.15%. About these 5, if you're a new listener, which I will mention now, the idea is, and I've done this over the last podcast, I've been buying some, not all of them, but some of these shares, try to find which one I like. These are signals from my own system, which I keep developing, and I will introduce more about this system, and eventually I will let you access them as well. But in the system, very well, which was in last week, made 3.3% profit last week. Still is flashing buy signals, so it will be in this week's 5 stocks, not 8 stocks. It will go down to 5 to make it easier. Then it's Xcel Energy, which also have been in and out and made us money before. It's in the utilities sector, flashing buy signals, currently sitting, let's see, currently sitting around $71, flashing buy signals. Then there is a company called ADMA Biologics in healthcare signal, flashing buy signals, currently at $23. We have Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific. It's Coca-Cola, but for Euro-Pacific, currently sitting around $90, flashing buy signals. The ticker is CCEP. And then there is Goodyear GT, which also been I remember I saw it before as a buy signal, $11 around. 5 companies is Ferwell, FER. Then there is Xcel Energy, XEL. Then there is Adam Biologics, ADMA. It is Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific, which is CCEP. And then there is Goodyear GT. 5 stocks, flashing buy signals. I will tell you exactly how it works. The idea is that we will look at the opening price today. I will look at the closing price on Friday. I don't bother with stop loss in this small test that we have. But normally you have like 3 to 5% stop loss. So when I mentioned that the metal company fell 9.15%, it's just because I measured the full week. But normally you will have a stop loss, so the loss will not be that kind of loss. And you might have some profit on. But 5 stocks there, which we will follow and see. Am I correct? Am I able to beat the market last week? My 7 stocks were not able to beat the market. Hopefully we can get back to where we are beating Nasdaq, for instance. Nasdaq, as I said, was up 3.42%, and I was not up 3.42% on the 8 stocks. Getting to the absolute end, and actually it's somewhat boring end, because it's been a repetition for so long that even I am getting tired of it. It's the $1,000 challenge, where I try to grow $1,000 as fast as I can. Currently sitting at $3,305 and 6 cents. NEO ended the week just like it ended the week last week at 403. It was much higher, 440 or something during the week. and anyone following know that I bought it at $5.10, $5.10. That's what I bought NIO for. Currently at 403 means a loss of almost 21% so far for that trade. But the $1,000 challenge has tripled, and I am on the hunt for $10,000. That's where I wanted to be. I thought now would be the perfect time for these things, because we are in the kind of market where I expect huge movements, and the analysts are expecting NIO to be around 10, 11 easy. Doesn't seem to happen, but that is mainly because the US-China tension is not settling down. I will stay in NIO because I have too good feeling about NIO. That being said, this is the $1,000 challenge in my other portfolio, as I have a huge chunk in NIO, maybe too much, and I have in Tesla, because in my world, EV will be the future. That is where the big money, and especially Tesla with the robots and everything coming out. Was it a good choice to buy all these Tesla? Absolutely. And I saw again Norwegian expert, but he's been missing all the times when he is giving predictions, so I don't understand why the TV keep using him, but they do this, the same thing for politics. They miss all the time in everything they say. But he said that Tesla was doomed when Tesla on the quarter results, but Tesla just been pushing up. I have Tesla 220 plus, so currently in an absolutely nice profit position. I might reduce this and Nvidia, because I used the chance to buy Nvidia when Nvidia was just above 88 in the last fall. So I might reduce some of these, but in general I have strong belief on EV. And repetition for those who if you go 4 years back in the podcast, 4 or 5 years back, I told you sell EV. Do not hold EV when they were sky high. NIO at $60. I told sell it. It's hyped up to the world. It's a wokeness at the very most stupidest level you can think of. It is insane, just insane, because there was no reason for it to be so high. And I argued then that there were no logistics, and there going to be a lot of issues with all of these things. All these subsidies were going to get away, and right I was. But when NIO started to fall and NIO fell to 8, I started to buy. So I first bought NIO now at $8, very high since it's already 4. But I've been buying several rounds, so right now I have a nice stake in NIO in a slight profit actually, but not by much. My bet is that EVs will come strong, because now the logistics are there. I see more and more EVs in a country like I'm sitting right now, Vilnius, Lithuania, and more EVs are coming, because it's getting easier and easier to charge. And why not? 28 minutes, that was it. I hope you will have a super week. I wish you absolutely a good week, where your portfolio will be much greener by the end of the week than in the beginning of the week. I hope you will be back next week. I hope you liked the podcast, that you had some time. I hope you found something valuable, and until next week, just have a good week. Bye.
Welcome to StockInvest.US Stock Analysis. We remind you that trading involves a high risk of losing money, and that you should speak with a financial advisor before buying or selling any securities. You should not base your investment decision upon StockInvest.US. By using the information, you agree and are held liable for your own investment decisions.